Hi and welcome to Love Doing Yoga on this rainy Friday evening. Hope you're all doing well. If you are doing our July challenge, well done you. It's week 4. There's 5 weeks in July, but that's great because you are almost there. So if you are doing it, let us know, because we're going to put your name up on this wall here behind us next week to give you a big shout out. As ever throughout the practice, listen to your body. Only do what feels right for you today and enjoy it. Let's get going. And we'll start off lying down. Lying out whatever way feels right for you today. As we begin to just turn inward and slow down, just giving yourself permission to step out of the world for a little while. Step into this oasis of calm. And leave outside everything that's going on in your life and in the world. Leave outside any roles or responsibilities you have. For the next your mind with your body through your breath. And just beginning that journey inward, let's begin by focusing on some of our extremities. Maybe just zoom in on your toes, noticing how your toes feel, the temperature of them. Do both feet feel the same? Do all toes feel the same? Just spend a little time here noticing them, letting them fill your mind. And then letting your attention move to your fingers. Again, just noticing them. How do they feel? If they're touching the mat, noticing that texture, noticing how they feel against the mat. Bringing your attention to your lower back and its connection with the earth. Just noticing if the two sides of your hips are level. The back of your pelvis, if it's level on the floor. And if you have this little arch at the small of your back, this little gap here on the mat. Letting your attention move upwards to your upper back, the back of your shoulders against the mat. And then allowing your attention to settle at that point between your eyebrows. And as it settles here, breathing in through your nose, into your belly, allowing the belly to fill, and out through your nose. And taking your right hand, just covering your right nostril with your index finger of your right hand. And let's take 3 breaths in and out through the left nostril. And taking the right hand away, just noticing the stillness that brings to that point between your eyebrows. The absolute calm. Let's just take it to the other side. So your left index finger covering your left nostril as you breathe in and out for 3 breaths through your right nostril. And allowing both hands to come down by your side once again. Let's take 5 more breaths here as you breathe in through your nose, into your belly, filling that belly, and exhale through the nose. Keeping that attention on your breath. And on your next inhale, raising your arms behind your head, bringing them all the way onto the floor behind you so you get a nice full body stretch here. Soft in this stretch. And bringing both arms down by the side, let's just lift up that right leg and hug the knee in, almost like it's coming towards the armpit. Keeping the shoulder blades flat on the mat. And then taking this leg, just allowing the knee to come all the way over to the left. Open out both arms, and you can turn your gaze to the right if that feels okay for you. Here. And coming back to center, bringing those arms down by your side as we lift up the left leg, and again bringing it in towards your armpit, keeping those shoulder blades flat on the mat. And one more breath. And then we're going to take this left leg and again bring it all. Putting out the arms, you can turn the gaze to the left if it's comfortable, but only if it's comfortable. You may feel better with that turn to the right. And taking 2 more breaths here. And coming back to center as we hug both knees into the chest, and I say hi to Anna and Daria, Maureen, Fanula, Patricia, Sue, hopefully Sue. Oh, Sue's trying to get in at the moment. Okay, and about 9 others. Hi to everybody. Thank you so much for joining me this Friday evening. And from here, allowing both feet to drift back to the floor, let's just lift up this right leg and cross it over the left leg. You want to get those bones of the ankle just on the far side of the leg so they're clear of the leg, and flex the foot. This is really just for protection for your ankle. And from here, thinking about just pushing that knee with your mind, pushing that knee away from the center. Good, and you can stay here, or if you'd like a little bit more, you can lift that left leg up. And the more you want to really work on this hip, the more you bring this left leg towards you. Good. And one more breath. Breathing into any tension or tightness that you might feel here. And allowing the foot to drift to the earth. Let's just bring that over to the other side. So left leg across, just having that ankle bone clear of the leg, flexing the foot, and thinking about pushing that left knee away from the center. Staying here, or for a bit more of a challenge, lifting that right leg up off the floor, keeping the shoulder blades flat against the floor as you just begin to stretch into this hip here. Good. Let's take 2 more breaths here. Think about directing your breath to any points of tension, any tightness, to help ease it out. And allowing the foot to come to the earth if it's up, both feet meeting the ground, and let's hug both knees into the chest. Oh, hi Tina from Brussels. Hope Brussels is good today. And depending on your mood, whether you want to shift things up a gear, or if you're just happy to take it easy, you can either stay here with the knees hugged into the chest, or you can bring your hands just either side of your ear, and we're going to just reach up with the elbow to the knee and back down, and then to the other side. And if you want to challenge yourself more with this, you can begin to move the knees away, or maybe let the legs stretch out. Good. Using your breath to help you here. Good. 3 more times on each side. 2 and 3. Good. And hug those knees into the chest. And from here, rolling over onto your side. Want to use a mat or a block or a hardback book here just to sit on. Think about sitting on the edge of it, so your seat bones are at the edge of the block, and we're sitting up tall here. So feeling into those seat bones, just checking that you've got equal weight on both bones, and if you have a little extra padding like me from those extra COVID pounds, you can just move the padding out of the way to feel those seat bones, and keep those shoulders over the hips as we sit up tall here, and just allow length to start to come into the spine. So we're going to inhale and find that space in the spine. Taking 2 more breaths here. Good, and bringing those hands together, clasping them up
over your head. Let's just take a bend to the left. And as we're bending to the left, keeping that spine nice and long. So as you inhale, finding length in the spine. As you exhale, see, can you take a little millimeter more into that bend? So we're finding nice openness here on this right side. Right lung is nice and open, whole right chest. But trying to keep control of this left side. So we still want to keep a gap between the rib cage and the hip. Good. One more breath here. And coming up through center, let's take that over to the right. Forgo straightness for depth, so we end up coming forward to get deeper, but you get much more out of this pose. If you stay up tall, keep those shoulders over the hips. Good, and coming back to center and raising those arms up above the head. Let's drop that left hand down and reach the right hand across. And coming up through center, let's take that to the other side. And again, up through center, we're going to take a twist to the right. So right hand onto that left leg, twisting from the chest to the left. And back to center, both hands up in the air. Let's take it to the right. And both hands up in the air. Let's bring them down behind you so you really start to open that chest out, and you might want to just draw a little arc with your nose up to the ceiling so you're totally opened out in front. And coming up tall, reaching those arms out. Let's bring it forward. Good, as forward as you want to go here. And making your way all the way up. A couple more times. So arms up in the air, left hand down and reach across to the left. And back to the center, coming over to the right. And to the center, taking a twist to the left. And center, and a twist to the right. And center, taking it back, opening the chest, raising the gaze. And center, bringing it all the way forward. Good, walking up, let's do that again. Raising those arms up. And let's take a bend to the left. And coming up tall, let's take a bend to the right. And again, up tall and a twist to the left. And up tall and a twist to the right. Coming back to center, opening the chest, raising that gaze. And up and bringing it forward. Good, making your way all the way back, and let's just come onto all fours. Alignment here, so fingers open nice and wide, almost clawing into the mat with your fingertips, which will just save your wrists. Having that line of your wrists in a nice straight line with the top of the mat. Micro bend in the elbow, shoulders are over the wrists. Spine is nice and long, so you're looking down on the mat so that your spine all the way up through your neck stays in one long line from your tailbone to the crown of your head. Your hips are over your knees and your feet are straight out behind you, so when you look down you can't see your feet. And the legs about hip distance apart. So that's about a fist and a bit apart. Good. Let's just feel into the spine here. So close your eyes And feel that space start to happen in the spine as you breathe in through your nose and out through your nose. And again, inhaling, feeling that length in the spine. And as you exhale, think about lifting your pelvic floor, bring your belly button in and up so you get a little moment of tension, a little moment of contraction in your core as you exhale. Let's try that one more time. Inhaling, finding that length in the spine. Exhaling as we start to engage that core a little bit. Good. Let's start to introduce cat-cow. So as we inhale, we're going to drop the belly, tilt the pelvis, open the chest, raise the gaze in front of you. And as you exhale, curling from the tailbone all the way through the shoulders to the crown of the head, looking between your legs. Keeping it synced with the breath. Two more times. Really beginning to feel that movement connect with the breath. If you can remember on that exhale to begin to engage the core a little bit. By lifting the pelvic floor, bring the belly button in and up. Good. Let's meet back in neutral spine and let's begin to wake these legs of ours up. So from here, curling those toes, we're going to push back into a squat. So you're just going to walk your hands back, lift the knees up off the floor, keep the heels up. And actually I'm going to hop to the top of the mat here, and if you're at the back of the mat, you might want to make your way to the top of the mat as well. And here, keeping the heels up, knees out, and see, can you begin to bring some length into that spine? So you might want to bring the hands into prayer and find a little point of balance. Up on your toes, nice long spine. Good, engaging that core on the exhale, lifting the pelvic floor, bringing the belly button in and up. And allowing the hands to come down onto the floor in between your legs, knees open nice and wide. We're going to step the right leg back as far back as it can go. So stepping it all the way back, letting the knee come down, open out the foot. Good. Begin to push this left knee away from you with your elbow. From here, you can stay here if you wish, or you can take the left hand and begin to push that left leg away. Or if you'd like a little bit more, you can come down onto your right forearm for that twist. We're going to stay in this twist for 3 breaths. If you feel any tightness, any tension, so for me, I'm feeling it a little bit here in the hip. So I'm just directing my breath into that area to help ease it out. And on that exhale, lifting the pelvic floor, bringing that belly button in and up for the final exhale. Good, and making your way back to the center. We're going to bring that right leg in and we're going to just swap it over. So stepping that left leg back all the way out. Good, pushing into that right knee, either with your left hand up and beginning to twist, or perhaps if you want, coming down onto the forearm of that left hand. And just bringing a little twist in here. Good. 2 more breaths. and coming back to center. And this time we're going to step that right leg back and we're going to do a little bit of plank work. So you've got choices here. You can work here because we're going to be in it for a little while. Have a little micro bend in the elbow, or if you want, you can lift the legs up into your full plank. So just check in with your hips. So with plank, sometimes if you find that it strains your back, it's because you've dipped your back and you're not using your core to keep you up here. So I would always prefer little micro bend in the elbow. Good. From here, let's lift that right leg up, keeping the gaze on the mat in front of you. Toes pointing towards the floor. Good. Let's take one more breath here. And allowing that right leg to come down, let's switch it over to the left leg. Lovely. And one more breath. And allowing that left foot to come down, let's push it back into a downward dog. So it's our first downward dog. Move into it easy. Bend the knees. Keep the heels up off the floor. And just pedal your way into it. All the time listening to your body. Pushing those hips back towards the back of the mat. Absolutely fine, it's your downward dog. But what we really want to focus in on here is a nice long spine. And check in with your shoulders. Sometimes our shoulders end up around our ears. So if you can, just with your elbows, think about pointing the back of the elbow slightly downwards towards the mat. It just helps to open out those shoulders a little bit more. Pushing the hips back towards the back of the mat. Good. Getting tired here? Okay, let's lift that right leg all the way up. And let's take 2 breaths here. Keeping the spine nice and long. Like a dog peeing. One more breath. And straightening up, we're going to bring that right foot up to the top of the mat. Whatever way works for you, lift it up, carry it up, bring it down. Checking in here is your right knee over your right ankle. And let's just come up into a low lunge, hands onto the knees, taking it nice and easy. It's the calm before the storm. Good, easing into this. Remembering on that exhale, lift the pelvic floor, bring the belly button in and up. Let's move it into a high lunge by just curling those back toes and lifting the knee up off the floor. Super. One more breath here. Take a rest at any time you need to. Let's take those arms out to the side and let's take 3 breaths. We're reaching forward with our let's bring those arms up by our ears. Good. Keeping that gaze on the floor just a bit in front of you. One more breath. And then let's raise that torso up and the gaze up. Super. Your muscles taking the weight, not the joints. One more breath. Now we're going to push it back into a downward dog. Good, wherever that dog is for you. Keeping the gaze towards your belly button. So you've got a nice long spine. Pushing those hips back towards the back of the mat. Bend your knees, raise your heels, do whatever you need to do to find the length in your spine. And let's lift up that left leg. Keeping the length. One more breath. And then bending that knee, stacking one hip on top of the other. Super. One more breath. You're looking to the top of the mat. We're going to get that left foot up to the top of the mat by whatever means. And dropping the right knee. And coming up into a nice slow lunge. Good, hands on top of the knees. Just checking in here that your foot is nice and straight, that your big toe is gently pressing into the mat, knee over ankle. Good, nice long spine. And curling the toes of that right leg as we lift the knee up off the floor. Great stuff. Let's take 2 more breaths here. And allowing the arms to come back, allowing the chest to reach forward. Lovely, one more breath. And let's bring those arms up by our ears. Good, let that gaze go to the floor, out about 1 meter away from your mat. Remembering on that exhale, lift the pelvic floor, bring the belly button in and up. And raising that torso up, super. Lifting the gaze. Soften the shoulders. One more breath. And hands down either side of that foot, stepping all the way back to your plank. Bending those elbows, let's just bring the knees to the floor and push back into a child's pose, your choice. So, forehead on the floor, either your arms out in front of you or by your side, or knees wide open. And one fist on top of the other for 5 nice, restful breaths. Good, and meeting back up on all fours, tabletop in neutral spine. And from here, curling those toes, pushing the hips back to the heels as we rise up into our downward dog. We're not going to hang around here too long because we're just going to walk our feet up to meet our hands and come all the way up to standing. Great stuff. Checking down at your feet. So we want them about hip distance apart. Are they in a nice straight line? Equal weight on both feet. Just pressing that big toe gently into the mat. Standing up tall here, hips over heels, shoulders over hips. And let's just allow the arms to come down by your side and palms to face towards the front. So we've got a nice open chest here. Taking 3 breaths.
And on that exhale, lifting the pelvic floor, bring the belly button in and up. Lovely. Let's take a couple of swan dives then. Bringing those arms all the way up, allowing them to come out to the side as we forward bend down. Bend those knees as much as you need to get into this forward fold, and then bend them to come all the way up, arms coming out by your sides. Good. Let's take 3 more of those, sweeping down into a forward fold. And making your way all the way up. And 2, coming all the way down. Good. And bending those knees to come all the way up. Last one. Sweeping down into your forward fold. And bending those knees to come all the way up. And hands meeting at the heart. Good. Putting your hands on your hips. Let's make our way to the long side of the mat. So, having the legs about 2 or 3 hips distance apart. Whatever's comfortable. We're not madly wide, but we're fairly wide. Bending the knees here. So we begin to sit down into a little goddess or god pose. Sitting back. And let's raise those arms up. Checking in with the arms. This is a hard one to keep an eye on here when you're on your own. We want to try and keep that elbow in that upper arm in a straight line. Good. And on the exhale here, lifting that pelvic floor, bring the belly button in and up. Good. Shoulders soft. One more breath. Now I'm bringing the hands down onto the hips. Let's turn this right foot to the top of the mat. And with that left leg, we're going to begin to straighten it and turn the toes towards about a 45-degree angle. Keeping this front knee over the ankle. Let's try not to lock the back knee, so a little micro bend in it. As we come into a warrior 2, our hips are open. Opening out the arms, turning your gaze to look out over that right hand. Soften the shoulders. Keeping the torso in the center. So sometimes we're a little bit tempted to be kind of reaching a little bit forward here. Try to keep that torso in the center of your body, directly over your hips. Good. One more breath. And let's begin to straighten this front leg as we just turn our upper body and come into a forward fold over this leg here. So keep that leg as bent as you need to, so you're not overstraining the hamstring here. But of course, if you want a little bit more, you can bring straightness into it, or indeed you can narrow the stance a little bit for a bit more of a stretch, keeping that spine nice and long. Good. From here, allowing the hands to come a little bit forward of the feet, bending that right leg if it's not already bent. Let's lift the left leg up and let's turn it so the foot is parallel with the floor. Super. You can stay here if you want, or if you'd like a little bit more, you can bring that right hand into the center and begin to lift the left hand up. Lovely. For one breath. And bringing the hand down, allowing the foot to come down. Check in that the heels are in line with each other as you come back through center to come back into your goddess pose. Taking 3 breaths here. Lovely. One more. Now I'm bringing the hands onto the hips, turning that left foot towards the back of the mat, turning the back foot inwards a little bit, checking in on that front leg. Is the knee over the ankle, keeping the hips open, chest is towards the long side of the mat, arms into the T shape,
And just turning the head to look out over that left hand, watching the torso here, checking in with it. Are your shoulders over your hips? Two more breaths. And as you exhale, lifting that pelvic floor, bring the belly button in and up. Lovely. And just allowing your upper body to turn, allowing that back leg to turn as we come into a forward fold over this leg. Nice long spine. And if you want a little bit more, narrowing that gap. If you want a little bit less, bending that knee. Lovely, one more breath. And then allowing the hands to come forward as we lift that back leg up, foot coming parallel to the floor. Staying here, or if you'd like a little bit more, just shifting the weight onto the left, well, really the left foot, but using the left hand to help with the balance, lifting that right hand up, opening the chest, and coming all the way down in a little bit of a hurry for Jill today. And bending the knee as we make our way up, coming back into your goddess pose for 3 breaths. And one more breath. And straightening those legs, bringing the hands onto the hips. Let's bring those legs out as wide as you can now. So we've worked our way, you may have noticed, all the way around your legs, your quads, your hamstrings, your glutes, your calves. But what we haven't got is this inside piece here, because that's really hard to get to. So we're going to try and get there now. So from here, let's start to bend forward. We're bending from the hips. Keep your knees bent as much as you need to here. We're bending from the hips. Let the chest lead. So we've got a nice long spine. And notice as you begin to draw the upper body towards the mat, you begin to feel that on the inside of the thigh. Good. And wherever you are in this, as you inhale, find length in the spine. As you exhale, go a little deeper into the forward fold. You can begin to walk those hands backwards. You may even want to get the head all the way down to the floor. And as you exhale, just beginning to engage that core, lifting the pelvic floor, bring the belly button in and up. Lovely, one more breath here. And let's begin to just walk the hands out. So we're in a wide-legged tabletop pose. You've got a nice long spine here, long and straight. Let me just turn this way so you can see what I'm talking about. So the legs are out wide and the spine is long. And from here, we're going to do a wide-legged downward dog, because this really gives you a great sense of how the back should feel. Just allow the arms to walk out. So the hips are staying back. Allow the hands to walk away from the center. And allow your gaze then to go between your legs. Feeling that length in the spine. Feel free to bend your knees as much as you need to here. Come up onto your heels if you want to, but feel that length in the spine. 2 more breaths here. Really allowing that length. Lovely, one more. And walking the hands back to center. Let's just walk them all the way over to the left foot. Allowing the chest to come towards that left leg. Good, really starting to feel that
More on that inside of the leg there, on the outside of the leg here. And bringing it back through center to the other side. Good, one more breath. And making your way back to center. Let's heel toe those feet together. So we've got our toes together and our heels just a little bit apart so that your feet are in a nice straight line on the outside. Bend the knees. And I know for some this is the dreaded chair. And let's raise the arms all the way up. Good. 2 more breaths. Lifting that pelvic floor, bring the belly button in and up, just on the exhale. Soften on the inhale. Lovely. Bringing those hands together in prayer, elbows as far away from each other as they can be. Let's take a twist to the left. So that right elbow is on the back of the left leg, twisting to the left, trying to lift that chest so it's looking straight ahead of you. Good, one more breath here, keep the bend in the knees. And allow that right hand to go towards the floor, lifting that left hand up. Good, 2 more breaths. And bringing the left hand down as we come to center, raising those arms up for 3 breaths. Good, 1 more breath. And hands together as we take a twist to the right. Allowing that chest to look towards the right. 1 more breath here. Elbows or shoulders soft. And letting that left hand come to the floor, raising the right hand up, lifting the gaze with it. Good, bringing the right hand down. And let's come all the way up. And bring the arms out to the side, making it to the top of the mat as we run through a sun salute or 2. If you know your sun salutes, and I know lots of you do, go ahead at your own speed, in your own time, in your own way, in your own style. If Chaturanga is in your practice, go ahead and do it. If you haven't a clue what I'm talking about, or you're still a little unsure of your sun salutes, stick with me. Let's raise those arms up nice and tall. And we're going to come into a nice forward fold. Bend your knees as much as you need to. And halfway lift. Gaze on the mat in front of you. And forward fold, stepping that right leg back. Drop the knee, open the foot. And rising up into your low lunge. And hands down either side of the foot to step back into your plank. Keeping the gaze on the mat. Let's come down through knees, feet, chest, and roll through into a cobra with the gaze on the mat, elbows in, and push up through tabletop into your now very familiar downward dog. And let's get that right foot up between the hands by whatever means you need to. Lift it, carry it, step it, whatever works for you. Dropping that left knee, open out the foot and rising up into your low lunge. And hands down either side of the foot, step that left foot up to meet the right. Bend the knees as you come all the way up. Great stuff. Let's take it on the other side. Raising the arms up and let's sweep down into a forward fold.
halfway lift. And forward fold, stepping the left leg back.
Open out the foot to come up into your low lunge. Good. Keep the shoulders soft.
And hands down either side of that foot to step back into your plank and coming down through knees, feet, chest, and through cobra, coming up into a tabletop, pushing the hips back to rise up into your dog. And bringing that left foot up to the top of the mat by whatever means. Dropping the right knee, open the foot, coming all the way up. Good, hands down either side of the foot, stepping that right foot up to meet the left. And coming all the way up. Good stuff, well done.
We'll wait for others to catch up with us. And now we're all up at the top of the mat. Let's reach those arms up.
Let's come into a forward fold. And from here, let's bend those knees and let them come all the way down to the mat. And let's make our way all the way down onto the floor. Lifting the feet up off the floor, hugging those knees into the chest as we did at the start. And this time just massage out your back in whatever way feels right for you. Good. And coming to stillness here, you can keep hugging those knees into the chest, or if you like, you can bring your hands between your knees, lifting the legs up, holding the outside edge of the feet, and to come into a happy baby pose. If you find it hard to hold onto your feet here, you can also hold onto the thighs, so whatever works for you. And again, just move around in whatever way your body is suggesting. Those legs worked hard. They might want to just move in different ways to loosen out. And then coming to stillness, let the feet slowly drift to the earth as you prepare for your final resting pose of Shavasana. And as you're making your way into this, the most important part of the practice, I will take this opportunity to say thank you so much for joining me this evening. I hope you enjoyed that practice. If you did, tell all your friends. If you didn't, say nothing and go quietly away. And if you like what we do, we would love your support. You can become a patron of Love Doing Yoga for just €5 a month. It means you get access to all of our practices. That's 3 live practices every week, which you can do at any time. So we email them to you to do at a time that suits you if the live time doesn't work for you. And we also send on little bonus short practices and things. So do check that out. For now, though, let me say have a fabulous weekend. I will, at this point, wish you a namaste, because I don't want to disturb you at the end. And just start to let your body go. This is the time when it, I suppose, absorbs all of the work, everything that it's done. It starts to move into your muscle memory. It starts to become part of your body's story. So just let go your toes and the soles of your feet and the tops of your feet. Let go your ankles and heels, your calves, your shins. Let go your knees. Let go your quads.
and your hamstrings and your glutes. Just let it all go. Let go your whole pelvic area and belly, lower back, the back of your rib cage, the front of your rib cage. Let go your chest and shoulder blades. Let go your shoulders, armpits, upper arms and elbows, forearms, wrists, palms of your hands, backs of your hands, fingers, the whole of your arms. Just let it go. Let go the back of your head, the crown of your head, your forehead, eyebrows, eyes, cheeks, jaws, chin, lips and tongue. Just let it all go. And as your attention moves to your breath, breathing in through your nose, into your belly, and out through your nose. And taking a moment here of gratitude to your body and to yourself for doing this practice, and to all of us for practicing together. And gratitude for everything in your life today that you have to be grateful for. And with that attention on your breath, allowing your inner gaze to fall towards your heart center, beginning to connect with your true nature, that part of you that's at your very center, that's underneath all of the layers. And imagine you're walking on a nice pebble beach. Noticing the sounds, the smells, the temperature, the heat. Find a place here to stop and rest and enjoy.